Before them stands the corpse of a once proud archer, her flesh leathery and mummified, stretched tight over bone. Aryen says it's their ancestor. Vikir grits his teeth. Did the shaman truly resurrect their forebears? The thought stuns him. How could he even have the power to do this? Unless he'd turned himself into one of the undead. The shaman's chant grows louder as more graves stir. Skeletal hands break through the soil. His voice carries through the mist, mocking them. He tells them he hasn't been idle all these years, and that more than one ancestor rests beneath these lands. The risen dead lift him and carry him away. Ahun shouts after him, demanding how much further he'll disgrace their family. He raises his bow, but a glint of dark energy flashes high in the mountains. From above, the reanimated ancestor aims her arrow at him. Before she can release it, another shaft flies and shatters her skull to dust. Aquilla's voice cuts through the haze. Their foes are not their ancestors, she reminds them, but puppets bound to the shaman's will. They can honor them later. Right now, survival comes first. The tribe clashes with their own ancestors in a brutal fight. The shaman had raised them all, turning the fallen into enemies. At the center, Aquilla holds the line, arrows flying with precision, her aura flaring as she cuts down the undead to protect her people. Vikir watches in awe as her arrows cut through the undead. The stories of her prowess had been no exaggeration. He tells Aryen the tribe is safe under Aquilla and urges her to follow, his sights set on the shaman. Elsewhere in the forest, the shaman is carried by skeletons as he keeps cursing the Vallacs. He suddenly stops, realizing something, then points to a lone skeleton and sends it off into the woods on another task. He can't let his guard down yet. Aquilla is still a problem, a genius, the strongest of all the Vallac chiefs. He smiles darkly, thinking he'll find a genius of his own. Vikir and Aryen locate the shaman and move in quietly. He's deep in the middle of a dark ritual, surrounded by eerie symbols drawn into the earth. Vikir narrows his eyes, asking what the shaman is doing. Aryen says she doesn't know, but whatever it is, they have to stop him now. She raises her bow and fires straight at his back. Before the arrow can strike, the shaman speaks a single phrase. At last, the ground splits beneath him, and a massive hand bursts through the soil, catching the arrow between two fingers. Aryen freezes in disbelief as the shaman begins to laugh. He tells them he has summoned him. He lifts himself to his feet, spreading his arms. The earth trembles as a figure begins to rise before him. The shaman's voice rings with pride as he declares that the legendary warrior has returned, Adhonai. The figure climbs from the pit, bones knitting together, flesh wrapping around them like dark, leathery cords. The shaman boasts that no one knew where Adhonai was buried, no one but him. Aryen's eyes widen. She can't believe it. Was it truly Adhonai, the ancient warrior who once fought against Madame Eightlegs? Vikir remembers the name. She had told him that story before. Adhonai lifts his bow, aims and fires. Vikir swings Beelzebub, deflecting the shot, but the arrow detonates behind him with explosive force. His expression hardens. He's never seen power like that. Aryen groans. Vikir turns to see her clutching her leg. She says her thigh burns. Poison. The realization hits him fast. The tales were true. Adonai's bow was made from Madame Eightlegs' remains. Adhonai fires again and again, but Vikir deflects each arrow, the blasts tearing through the forest. His arm throbs from the impact. Aryen tells him to leave her and save himself. The shaman laughs, calling them insolent brats. He says neither will live to see another day, then commands Adhonai to finish them. The next arrow flies. Vikir steps in front of Aryen, sword raised, ready to block again, though doubt flashes in his eyes. He doesn't know if he'll survive this one. Before the arrow lands, a figure flips through the air and snatches it mid-flight. Aquilla lands between them and the shaman, crushing the dark arrow in her hand. She stares at him coldly. Her voice cuts through the tension as she says they need to talk. Ayen shouts in surprise, calling out to her mother. Aquilla stands firm, saying she felt a strong aura here. The shaman stumbles back, startled to see her. Ayen tells her mother that the arrow was poisoned and she needs to treat it immediately. Aquilla glances at her hand and mutters, "Poison, huh?" Then she clenches her fist. Blood drips from her palm as the poison seeps out with it. Vikir watches, surprised. Did she just use aura to force the poison from her blood? He never thought that was possible. Aquilla fixes her glare on the shaman. He jumps back, shouting that she brought this on herself. She says she has no interest in his excuses, but she would like to know if that corpse truly belongs to Adhonai. The shaman laughs and says she's right. It is the legendary Adhonai, and she doesn't stand a chance against him. Aquilla smiles faintly. Is that so? She turns to Ayen and Vikir, telling them to leave Adhonai to her. Then she looks up at the towering warrior. Her smile sharpens as she addresses him. It's an honor to meet him. Now, let them see who the better warrior is. Aquilla and Adhonai face each other in silence, waiting for the first move. Then Aquilla darts forward, flanking him and firing 4 arrows in one swift shot. Adhonai dodges, then counters with his own arrow. Aquilla flips aside, the blast from his shot shaking the forest. Explosions echo through the trees as the 2 master warriors clash in a storm of aura and force. Vikir, carrying Ayen away, looks back. So this is what a battle between master-level aura users looks like. Ayen glances over her shoulder, worry in her eyes for her mother. Hidden behind a tree, the shaman watches the fight through one of his own eyes, earlier plucked from his skull and now resting on a branch. He's surprised she can hold her own, but a smirk creeps across his face. In the end, she'll fall. You can't kill something that's already dead. Aquilla dodges another flurry of arrows, thinking she can't let this drag on. It's time to change tactics. Adhonai fires again, and Aquilla fires back. Their shots collide mid-air, the impact exploding into blinding light. Through the smoke, Aquilla bursts forward, kicking toward his head. He moves his head to the side, the blow slicing through the air. Adhonai swings a shadow dagger, cleaving 2 trees in half. But Aquilla drops low beneath it. She draws her own dagger and throws it. It strikes his hand, sending his weapon spinning away. She follows with a low kick to his knee, forcing him back. Adhonai steadies himself, eyes glowing blue. He looks up to see Aquilla suspended in the air, bow drawn, aura blazing. She releases the arrow. A massive blue explosion lights up the forest. Aquilla lands, scanning the smoke. Half his shoulder and part of his face are gone, yet he still stands. Aquilla remarks that she can sense he doesn't wish to fight her. Then she says the best she can do for him is to free him from this spell and let him rest once more. She fires again. Adhonai seems to accept his end. He stands still, waiting, until a pulse of dark energy bursts through him. His hand snaps up, catching the arrow before it lands. His right arm burns with dark power as he trembles, fighting against it. Then something vile begins crawling from the wound in his shoulder, a dark figure taking shape, wrapping itself around him. The shaman, still hidden, mutters while weaving another spell. Who would have thought Adhonai could resist his necromancy? His voice twists into a grin, but he won't allow it. His words flow from the eye watching on the branch, reaching Aquilla just as the darkness engulfs Adhonai. Adhonai roars as the darkness overtakes him. Aquilla watches, her expression hardening. That is no longer Adhonai, it's a monster now. The ground trembles. From deep within the forest, a massive creature emerges, towering over the trees. Then 2 more appear, their heavy steps shaking the earth. Through the eye resting on the branch, the shaman watches startled. Class A monsters. He wonders if the sound of their battle drew them here. The corrupted Adhonai turns his bow toward them and releases a volley. Their heads explode, and the beasts fall with a thunderous crash that shakes the forest. He turns back to Aquilla. She gasps. She didn't even see the arrows fly. The shaman's laughter flows through his watching eye. This is the true power of Adhonai. He orders the creature to kill her. The monster fires a storm of arrows. Aquilla darts through the forest, dodging as the ground erupts around her. Each arrow that grazes her slows her a little more. The air thickens with killing intent. This time, she feels it clearly. She gains some distance, plants her feet, and turns. She has to end this now. Drawing her bow, she releases 2 arrows. As they near their mark, the monster raises a hand, conjuring a spinning vortex of dark energy. 1 arrow hits the vortex and burns away into nothing. Aquilla's eyes widen, but then a grin forms on her face. He only noticed one of them. The second arrow had curved around, cutting through the air unseen. It strikes the monster in the back of the neck. She says calmly that the first arrow was meant to look like it missed, but it would always swerve back and strike from behind, a skill she developed herself. She adds that Adhonai had inspired it after she heard tales of his battle with a knight from the Empire. The creature stands still, then reaches forward and yanks the arrow from its neck. Aquilla tenses in disbelief. The shaman's laughter leaks through the watching eye, mocking her. He says she has no experience fighting the dead. Adhonai is already dead. Piercing his neck won't kill him now. Ayen watches the explosions from afar, fear tightening her chest. She prays for her mother, whispering for her to hold on just a little longer. Vikir glances at her and tells her quietly to stay hidden while he goes after the shaman. Dashing through the forest, Vikir thinks fast. The shaman is terrified of Aquilla. He wouldn't stay too close. Then movement flickers at the edge of his vision. He turns and spots the shaman. Changing course instantly, he sprints toward him, thinking 1 clean strike is all it'll take. But a chill crawls up his spine, an attack from behind. He leaps back just as an undead warrior crashes down, its foot slamming into the ground where he stood moments ago. Vikir slides across the dirt, steadying himself. The shaman turns at the noise, his face twisting in irritation. It's that brat again. Vikir's eyes dart around. 3 undead warriors now surround him. The shaman scowls, saying he knew someone would try to sneak up on him. Then he raises his hand and orders the undead to attack. All 3 lunge at Vikir at once. Back at the battlefield, Aquilla struggles to stay on her feet. Her strength fades, and she collapses to her knees. Watching from afar, the shaman laughs, delighting in her fall. He declares that the protectors of the woodlands will die, and he shall become their new master. That will be the lesson for treating him as they did for so long, he sneers. But a cold voice cuts through his gloating. It tells him he can't let that happen. Vikir tears through the undead warriors with ease, his movements sharp and deliberate, the 6th form. He speaks calmly as he advances, saying the tribe of the woodlands are his allies now. He won't allow the shaman to take them. The shaman's confidence falters. How did he kill them so quickly? Those undead had been high-class sword graduates in life. Could this brat be stronger than them? Vikir narrows his eyes. He tells the shaman he hopes he enjoyed his twisted little dream while it lasted. Fear grips the shaman. He stumbles back and screams for Adhonai to save him. From afar, the creature turns toward the voice, dark energy gathering in its hand, forming a deadly beam aimed straight at Vikir. But before it can fire, Aquilla launches forward, her kick slamming into its back. The blast fires off course, tearing through the forest instead. Vikir seizes the moment and charges the shaman. The terrified man keeps shouting for Adhonai to protect him, but it's too late. Vikir strikes once, then twice, and the third swing sends the shaman's head tumbling to the ground. The battle rages across the forest as the tribe fights to survive the undead. One woman stumbles, bracing herself for the final strike. But just as the undead warrior's blade descends, it halts mid-swing, its reanimated flesh crumbling into dust. All around the battlefield, the undead collapse, their decayed bodies breaking apart until only bones remain. Aquilla stands before Adhonai, panting but still upright after their fierce battle. The dark energy surrounding him slowly fades, revealing the man their tribe once revered. His leathery skin begins to dissolve, scattering into the wind like dust. Aquilla steps forward and takes his hand as his form weakens. She bows her head and whispers for him to rest in peace, esteemed forefather. Elsewhere, even decapitated, the shaman's head still screams that the woodlands will be his. Vikir stares down at it, thinking how impressive it was, the power the man managed to wield in the end. If he had devoted himself to becoming a true shaman, he might have become the hero he always wished to be. The head lets out a twisted laugh, taunting Vikir that it isn't over yet. Before he can say another word, an arrow strikes between his eyes, silencing him instantly. Vikir turns to see Ahun standing behind him, bow in hand, fury burning on his face. Ahun lowers his weapon and apologizes for not killing his grandfather when he'd been asked to. Vikir places a hand on his shoulder and tells him not to worry. No one could have expected this. Then he adds quietly that he did well as the shaman's head crumbles to dust. Vikir looks toward the forest and tells Ahun it's time to return to the village. The survivors who attended the Iliad made their way back to the village. They stopped when it came into view. The village was completely destroyed. Ayen shouted in disbelief as the others stood frozen in shock. From behind a tree, Ahuel appeared, tears streaming down her face. She told them it was Madame Eight Legs. Ahun rushed to her side while Ayen asked why the creature would do such a thing. Vikir scanned the devastation in silence. The madam had never attacked the village before. So why now? Ahuel pointed toward a crater where the shaman's hut once stood. She said she saw smoke coming from it shortly before the attack. Moments later, Madame Eight Legs appeared, destroyed the hut, and then wiped out the rest of the village before leaving. Vikir walked over and examined the crater. He noticed torn leaves scattered across the ground, and nearby, the skeleton of an orangutan, just like the ones the shaman had summoned. He crouched and picked up a leaf, wondering if the man had burned them to attract insects. He hadn't realized the shaman was capable of something like this. The chief shouted the shaman's name in rage and struck the mountain wall with her fist, leaving a long crack across its surface. The tribespeople begged her to stop, warning her that her wounds were reopening. Aquilla steadied herself, then told them they would rebuild, but first they needed to find any survivors, recover the dead, and lay them to rest. She ordered them all to move. Ayen looked down in horror. Her faithful companion Vakira lay whimpering, its leg burned away by Madame Eight Legs' acid. She ran to it and embraced it, apologizing through tears for leaving it alone. Vikir watched from a distance, his thoughts heavy. Madame Eight Legs, the nightmare of the woodlands, the terror of every tribe. The Vallac saw her as a natural disaster, something that couldn't be fought or avenged. He stayed there, standing amid the smoke and ruin, as the cries of the survivors carried through the broken village, and as he looked upon the devastation, he couldn't help but wonder if such a monster could truly be destroyed. Night fell over the ruined village. The fires burned low as the tribe tended to the wounded and gathered what they could. Vikir made his way to a small cave near the ridge where Aquilla was resting. She looked up as he entered, her arm still wrapped in bandages. He asked her to tell him everything she knew about Madame Eight Legs. Aquilla frowned, asking why he wanted to know about that monster. Vikir unrolled a piece of parchment he had taken from the Rococo tribe's ruins. It described Madame Eight Legs' poison, her battles with other beasts, and the location of her lair, but it didn't explain why the tribes feared her so deeply. Why hadn't anyone ever joined forces to defeat her? He asked. Aquilla studied him for a moment before answering. Their tribe also kept records, she said. One told the story of Master Adhonai's battle with Madame Eight Legs. In that fight he destroyed one of her legs, but it grew back instantly, and where one was cut, two grew in its place, stronger than before. The rest of her body was impenetrable. Not even Adhonai had been able to kill her. Aquilla glanced at her wounds and said that even a small amount of her poison was nearly fatal. She was proof enough of that. Then she told him that if he planned to fight that monster, he should stop. She didn't want to lose any more family. Vikir was silent. She was right. His chances were slim. Not even Adhonai had been able to kill her, but she was still a monster. During the Age of Darkness, monsters just as strong as her had been hunted and defeated, and all of them, no matter how powerful, had weaknesses. He stepped out of the cave, staring into the dark forest. He would find it. And then he would destroy her,